Get ready. America's biggest, boldest, best broadcast voice is busting out.
So everybody in this country is sick and tired of the Hillary excuse tour. So what does she do? She takes her show on the road to India, of all places, where she tells an audience yesterday that anyone who voted for Donald Trump is in favor of taking America backward. Back to an America where women don't have career opportunities and jobs. Back to America where African Americans are denied rights and privileges. Really, Hillary? Give me a break. That is absolutely insulting and disgusting to suggest that, especially to a foreign audience. It is so unconscionable, it just makes me, I don't even have the words. Let me tell you about the America I live in, the people I associate with personally and professionally, and even more than me, the millennial sons that I have and all of the people in their lives. Dr. King's speech on the March on Washington in 1963, probably the greatest oratory effort in American history, the highlight line from that speech was he had a dream that one day his children would live in a country where they were judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. That is America today. Are there pockets of racism? Are there still gender bias and misogyny and stupidity like that? Of course there is. There always is going to be. But America is a land of opportunity. That dream has come true. And anyone who suggests otherwise is way off base. And obviously, what they're trying to do is perpetrate the fraud that racism still is prevalent, and it's for a very clear-cut purpose to ensure their power base, to make sure their influence is still there, and probably more than anything else, to give their existence relevance.
Cutting edge perspective.
Welcome back, everybody, to The Ride Home. Kip Keefer with you, getting you where you're going. Before we go any further, I really want to thank our listeners who are the best in the world. I've gotten a great outpouring of responses for our series of shows we did last week about this whole Department of Justice, FBI scandal, and scandal is maybe too light a word. This is a full-blown, just a sad chapter in the history of the United States government. Anyway, we have been on this since The Ride Home came on the air a little over a year ago, and it's basically been just collecting information and facts, building a sequential timeline, making some common sense determinations based on those events, and really just connecting the dots and try to put it in a way that everybody can understand and follow. And I really am absolutely so thankful that so many of you have said that that has been valuable to you. I can tell you it's also gratifying for me to sit on my chair and watch a news program, and some commentator will come up with some revelation about what's going on in Washington with this story. And, you know, it's really good stuff, but I think to myself, we covered that 3 weeks ago here on the program. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic that The Ride Home in Birmingham, Alabama has been on the cutting edge and really one of the leading information sources, not just here in Birmingham and in the Southeast, but for the whole country. And for that, I am really, really gratified. And it's amazing because this story is so huge and there's still so much to come that think about this. Had Hillary Clinton won the election on November 8th of 2016, this is something we would not even know about.
Brilliant broadcast partner.
There had to be a direct threat to Americans, and it had to be a defensive action for us to be able to be engaged in Somalia. Well, as you can imagine, it's really hard to do anything to fight a terrorist group when Americans in Somalia have to be under direct attack. Well, the only Americans in Somalia are our advisors that are there. And then the second thing that has to be going on is that it had to be defensive. Well, that's kind of insane because there's very little defensive action that goes on when you're attacking terrorists.
Together, Dream Team Magic.
I am so tickled, y'all. Everybody's going to make fun of me for this, but I am so happy. I always laugh at people who care about social media. And normally, Kip, I don't. I'm
No.
like, if you want to be happy, stay away from Facebook. Don't do that stuff. But folks, you got to follow me on Twitter. It's at Terry, Terre, Quillian, Quillian, because I'm so psyched. So, David Sears, guess who just followed me on Twitter?
Real Donald Trump.
Well,
Very close.
close.
Real-
Anthony Scaramucci, his
Nice.
verified account.
The Mooch.
Mooch, yes.
So the Mooch is now one of Terry's legion of followers.
Mooch is one of my followers, and I'm just wondering how to send him a private message and tell him I'm going to be in New York next weekend.
You can DM him. If he's following you, you can DM him.
I mean, yeah, and I'm looking. His last messages have been with George Stephanopoulos and people like that. No problem. Message from me. I'm just going to pretend like we're old friends. So my message is going to be like, "Hey, Anthony, I'm going to be back in New York next weekend. Want to get together for a cocktail? Love to catch up." And pretend I know him.
Interesting strategy.
That strategy has worked so many times for me.
Well, again, I always like when women have to think they have to be devious because I think we just send a picture and say, "Can we get together?" and you're good to go. I don't think you really need to think this out so meticulously here, Dr. Evil.
Well, no, I think he fits perfectly the profile of the kind of man I would usually go for. Let's see. He's getting divorced from his wife. He managed to miss the birth of their child because he was at a more important event. I mean, he sounds exactly like the kind of like the package that works for
Just
me.
has a real clean language pattern.
Yes, has beautiful things about his coworkers.
Oh, I mean, just a warm, wonderful fella.
That's
Perfect
right.
for
And
you.
then in 6 months, when he breaks my heart, we'll all be really surprised why, right?
Yeah,
Because I
and-
made another good decision.
Yeah. Oh well. It's life is a pattern. So we'll see what happens.
So
But
I came in here not in a great mood because I'm thinking about North Korea and I've been thinking about little Kim all day. And now my whole day is transformed by the Mooch following me on Twitter.
Redefining informative entertainment.
Well, Idiot of the Week's not till Friday. It's only Wednesday, but this week is already wrapped up. Did you see what Chuck Schumer said today? He declared, and I quote, "I'm concerned that law-abiding illegals are going to be ensnared in this frenzy of deportation that Trump is undergoing." Unquote. Law-abiding illegals. Nice job, Chuck. Josh, appreciate the call. I haven't been to New York in a long time, and I really enjoy going there. But anytime I think about it, all of a sudden it hits me that there is a 1 in 8 million chance that I might run into Joy Behar if I'm there. I got to tell you, folks, I don't like those odds. So I might be a little cranky today. I've been on this torturous diet. The good news is it's really working. Heck, I'm having more trouble keeping my pants on than Harvey Weinstein.
The ultimate voice. Kip is the key.